For the first time in 80 years, the keys to Europe's defense are being handed back. Washington is officially stepping aside, leaving a continent to stand on its own 2 feet. And as the American flag is lowered at NATO's most vital command posts, the world is asking, is this the end of the alliance or the birth of a superpower Europe? Think about the world we've known since 1949. For generations, the United States hasn't just been a member of NATO. It has been the heartbeat, the checkbook, and the ultimate bodyguard for the Western world. But right now, in February 2026, we are witnessing a tectonic shift that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. Washington's grip on NATO is finally loosening, not by accident, but by design. For the first time in the history of the transatlantic alliance, America is stepping out of the driver's seat for key military commands, letting European officers take the wheel. This isn't just a paperwork change, it's a fundamental reimagining of global security. We're talking about a world where the US no longer guarantees safety for free. Before we dive into the details of these massive base handovers and the high-stakes drama involving Greenland and the Trump administration's new doctrine, do me a quick favor, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We're tracking the biggest geopolitical shifts of the decade, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. So what exactly is happening on the ground? On February 9th, 2026, a military source confirmed a move that sent shockwaves through the halls of Brussels and the Pentagon. The United States is officially turning over 2 of NATO's most significant command posts to European military leaders. We're talking about Allied Joint Force Command Naples in Italy and Joint Force Command Norfolk right here in Virginia. Now, to the average person, these might just sound like names on a map, but in the world of military strategy, they are the eyes and ears of the West. Naples is the nerve center for the southern flank. It oversees NATO operations across the Mediterranean and into Africa. Norfolk, on the other hand, is the guardian of the Atlantic. It's responsible for the bridge between North America and Europe, making sure that if a war ever broke out, troops and equipment could actually make it across the ocean without being intercepted. For decades, these posts were almost exclusively led by American 4-star admirals. But under this new agreement, the US is stepping back. Italy is expected to take the lead in Naples, and the United Kingdom is stepping up to lead in Norfolk. It's a literal passing of the torch that signals the end of the era where America did all the heavy lifting. Why the sudden change? Well, it's no secret that the Trump administration has been drawing a hard line. The 2025 National Security Strategy made it clear. The US is no longer interested in being the world's unpaid security guarantor. The message to Europe has been blunt. We'll help you, but you need to lead. But wait, don't think the US is just packing up and going home. While they are giving up these regional commands, they are actually consolidating power in other areas. In a strategic trade-offs move, American commanders will now take charge of the specialized component commands. That means the US will lead Allied Air Command, Allied Maritime Command, and Allied Land Command. Essentially, the US is saying, Europe, you handle the regional planning and the day-to-day management of your borders. We will focus on the high-end technical warfighting capabilities, the planes, the ships, and the boots on the ground. It's a massive burden-shifting exercise. If you're finding this breakdown helpful, give this video a like. It really helps us get these deep dives out to more people. Now, we can't talk about this shift without talking about the tension that nearly broke the alliance just last month. Throughout January 2026, the world watched in disbelief as a diplomatic firestorm erupted over Greenland. President Trump intensified his long-standing interest in the territory, framing it as a vital national security asset that Denmark simply couldn't protect from Russia or China. At one point, the rhetoric got so intense that the administration refused to rule out military force to secure the island. There were even threats of 25% tariffs on European goods if Denmark didn't come to the table. This created a nightmare scenario for NATO. Think about it. Article 5 of the NATO treaty says an attack on one is an attack on all. If the US had actually moved on Greenland, would the rest of NATO have been forced to defend Denmark against the United States? It was a paradox that threatened to delete the alliance overnight. Thankfully, by late January at the World Economic Forum in Davos, a framework was reached. After intense meetings with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, the administration backed off the military threats and the tariffs. But the scar remains. The message to Europe was received loud and clear. America's loyalty is now transactional. This brings us to a crucial moment in the US Senate. Secretary of State Marco Rubio recently sat before the Foreign Relations Committee to explain this new NATO. The questioning was intense. Senators pointed out that the administration administration's rhetoric, especially the appalling pressure on Denmark, had deeply harmed American credibility. But Rubio didn't flinch. He argued that NATO isn't being destroyed, it's being reimagined. Rubio's logic is simple. America has limited resources.
And one of the things we've explained to our allies in NATO is the United States is not simply focused on Europe. We also have defense needs in the Western Hemisphere. We have defense needs in the Indo-Pacific, and it will require us. We may be the richest country in the world, but we don't have unlimited resources.
We have defense needs in the Western Hemisphere and massive challenges in the Indo-Pacific regarding China. We can't keep 100% of our focus on Europe while the rest of the world changes. He pointed out that for decades, wealthy European nations have used the US security umbrella as a way to save money. They spent their tax dollars on social programs and high-speed rails, while the US paid for the tanks and the missiles. Rubio's stance is that those days are over. For NATO to be stronger, Europe has to be capable of stepping up without a media circus every time Washington asks them to pay their fair share. So, what does a European-led NATO actually look like? We're already seeing the pieces fall into place. Beyond Naples and Norfolk, Joint Force Command Brunsum in the Netherlands, which is the nerve center for the eastern flank near Russia, is moving to a rotational leadership between Germany and Poland. This is huge. Poland has rapidly become one of the most powerful militaries in Europe, and giving them a seat at the head of the table shows that the center of gravity in NATO is shifting east. European allies are also pouring billions into their own defense budgets. They've realized that strategic autonomy isn't just a French buzzword anymore. It's a survival strategy. If the US focuses more on the Trump corollary to the Monroe Doctrine, focusing on the Western Hemisphere and drug cartels, or on the defense of Taiwan, Europe has to be ready to hold the line against Russia on its own. Is this the end of America's influence? Not exactly. The US is keeping the most important job of all, Supreme Allied Commander Europe, CESUR. That role will still be held by an American general. This ensures that while Europe does the heavy lifting, the US still maintains strategic oversight and keeps its nuclear umbrella over the continent. It's a delicate balance. On one hand, you have a US administration that is prioritizing America first and demanding that allies act like actual partners, not dependents. On the other hand, you have European nations that are terrified of being abandoned, yet are finally finding the political will to build their own armies. The transition won't be easy. It's going to take months, maybe years to fully implement. There will be friction. There will be more Greenland-style headlines, and there will definitely be more debates in the Senate about whether we're stronger together or better off apart. The era of the uncontested American century in Europe is fading. As European officers walk into those command centers in Naples and Norfolk, they aren't just taking over a base, they're taking over the responsibility for the peace of a continent. The question for you is, do you think this burden shifting makes the world safer by forcing Europe to grow up? Or does it just create a vacuum that our adversaries like Russia and China are waiting to fill? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. This is a massive debate and there are no easy answers. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like the video and share it with someone who needs to see the bigger picture. The map of global power is being redrawn as we speak. Is Europe ready to lead, or is this the beginning of the end for the West? Let's talk about it below.